Hi, this is Lorene, and I've been guided to create another video. If you'll give me a minute to clear, center, and balance my energy, we'll get started. Please see the timestamps to navigate this video as you see fit, as well as please feel free to ask questions in the comments. The first topic I'm going to discuss is all information has value. And this came in the last video also, but I edited it out for time. All information has value. Truth or fiction, truth or deception, it all has value. And when you are able to discern truth from fiction or truth from manipulation, then you can discern the value of that information, whether it be truth or lies. Words, actions, thoughts determine our intentions. And if we can hear the words, clairaudience tells us what we need to know. When we witness actions, clairvoyance tells us everything we need to know. And when we can hear or read thoughts, claircognizance, telepathic communication, we can discern that information, the value of that information. And those words, actions, and thoughts reveal intention. So even a lie reveals information about intention. So at the root, it's just information. And when we're able to discern that information, there's value in every word uttered, in every action displayed, in every thought that crosses someone's mind. It tells us everything we need to know. But one of the most important parts of this understanding and discerning information is doing so from a balanced place without a vested interest in outcome. So if we are reading this information, receiving this information, and we have a vested interest in what arises from that information, what the outcome is from that information, we start to place value on certain words, certain actions, certain thoughts. This is what I want to hear. This is not what I want to hear. And once we get emotionally attached or intellectually attached or attached to that information in any way, we start to become biased. Right? Once we place value on that information, we become biased, and our ability to discern the value is reduced. Our ability to discern truth from fiction is reduced. And so when individuals are still committed to duality, still committed to sides, to left and right, to good and evil, to red and blue, to happiness and sadness, when you're committed to the paradigms and belief systems, you are still existing from what the esoteric community calls a 3D point of view. And therefore, all that information is either right or wrong, good or bad, or has value or doesn't have value, right? When we expand and grow and evolve to a expanded level of consciousness, an expanded level of awareness, and we begin to merge duality. We don't see things as black and white. We start to understand that there's only gray. All things are gray, and all information has value. And we don't place value judgment on any of the information, and we are able to receive it from a balanced place and discern that information. Then it all makes sense and it all has value. When you can discern when someone's telling you the truth or if someone's lying, and then what's the root of that lie? Why is that lie happening? Then you understand the value. Then you understand the information that's being conveyed to you. Not every communication is malicious, and not every word uttered that is not to our liking is meant to be hurtful. Many words and many actions are, especially in where we are right now as a society, a community, are defensive actions and words. Things people are doing and saying to try to protect themselves, or try to defend the belief systems or paradigms or ideologies that they're living from, because they've chosen a side and they've chosen to commit to that side without considering the other side or anybody else's perception, or maybe just not caring, right? But as a society as a whole, we have to care. We have to care about each other. We have to care about people who don't see things the same way we do, or don't care about the same things we do. Because there's a reason. There's always a reason. And when you're able to listen and discern that information, regardless of how you perceive it, meaning regardless of whether you perceive it as truth or lies, when you're able to receive that information, discern the information, then you can use that information to help yourself, our community, and the individual as a whole. Individual as a whole, person, the community as a whole. Sorry. That being said, we're not meant to help everyone. We're not meant to save everyone. We're not meant to heal everyone. All healing and all change starts from within, and it starts with the individual. And this is the metaphor I always use. I have two brothers that struggle with addiction, and I can support them once they've become sober. But there's no way, I can't force them to be sober. I can't force them to stop using. That's out of my control. But once they make that step and choose sobriety, I can support them. And that's where we're at as a society. There's many people struggling and suffering. And we can support them, but we can't take that first step for them. So as we all grow and evolve and expand, we use our intuitive gifts to discern information and help us on our journey. And then as we journey forward on our path and purpose, we can use that information to help our communities as a whole, as we tap into each other, as we tap into this planet, and we tap into all energy on this world. Because this ability to discern information is it's not exclusively connecting with other humans. We can connect with animals, we can connect with the plants, the soil, the earth, all energy. All energy has consciousness and is able to exchange or communicate information. And this is all about discernment. And the first step in accessing that information and communicating is with the clairs. Claircognizance, clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairaudience. There's 7, I think, empathy. All these senses that we have at this place where we are right now are meant to help us grow, expand, and connect with the world around us, the universe around us. And as we grow and expand, we will definitely grow and expand beyond the clairs. But this is our first steps into this intuitive, energetic world of quantum entanglement. Because I believe our interconnectivity is known by science as quantum entanglement. That's what they call it. Anyway, after I did the last video and edited it, I had a very strong vision of a past life. I've had many past lives where I was a warrior, many battles, lost many people that I loved and cared for deeply, lost many soldiers, and this was no different. This was a very ancient lifetime, and we fought hard, and we were trying to root out the darkness. We were trying to root out the corruption in our government, on our world, on our continent, however you want to look at it. Wherever we were existing, we were fighting passionately to root out the corruption that was hurting our people and hurting our society. And the very strong realization I had in that lifetime was that the whole infrastructure must come down. No matter how hard we fought, we were not able to get rid of, to eradicate that corruption, that darkness that existed. Everything must come down. It's too deep. It's too deep. And so that past life was a very strong message for me, that I, over many lifetimes, have been fighting diligently, committed, over and over again, trying to root out the darkness, the corruption. And after many millennia, it still exists, regardless of the root. There's many people who believe, aliens came and changed our world. It's irrelevant. There's been much darkness on this world for many millennia. And at this place we're in right now, in order for us to root it out and to eradicate this energy from this world, the whole infrastructure must come down. And that is what Zako is here to help us with. And that is what many beings from many worlds will be coming to help us with, the transition. So the final thing I wanted to share, and I'm not sure why I feel so strongly to share this, but I had a very strong vision of a dog that I owned in a very old, ancient world. It was, I want to say feudal China is what I keep hearing. Feudal China. And I had an Akita. So I've already had 2 Akitas in this lifetime. But this was a dog, an Akita that was given to me by Japanese diplomats. So we had been at war with Japan, but it wasn't called Japan then, and China wasn't called China then. But when we were doing peace talks, the Japanese brought this dog over for me. And so I had a very mutually respectful relationship with a Japanese general, and I don't think they called him generals back then, but he brought the dog over for me. And so this past week, I've been having very strong visions of this dog, and I get very emotional like this every time it comes in. And I named her Crystal in Japanese, and then Ghost. Her name was Crystal Ghost. And after I received her, she went with me everywhere. In every battle that I fought, she was with me. And she was the smartest dog I've ever had. And she had absolute clarity, which is why I called her Crystal. And she moved like a ghost. Nobody knew she was there. She was my greatest protector, and I trusted her implicitly. And she never left my side. And I'm not really sure why I'm so emotional over this, but it's been this way all week. But this dog was an amazing dog. She was a white Akita. And as I'm talking about her, the message comes in: truth, faith, and commitment. And the other thing that comes in was, when I was picking out, I bought these orchids for myself. They had all these beautiful colors, and I had to have the white. I got the white. White in battle, in wartime, in present day, when you raise the white flag, you're surrendering. It also stands for spiritual awakening, expansion, purity, clarity. And so the very strong message that's come in this week is surrender to the awakening. Surrender the ideology, surrender the paradigms, surrender the belief systems, and awaken to expansion. I think I'm going to stop there because it's been a really emotional week, and I think that's a good place to stop. Okay? Thank you.